My name is Maya Stewart, and this is my presentation on AppArmor and HTTPS. So HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, while HTTPS stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. So that's one way to note that HTTPS is the way to go. So HTTP doesn't have encryption, and that makes it very insecure. It's very vulnerable to man-in-the-middle attacks, and its default port is 80. We have HTTPS, and its data is encrypted using TLS/SSL certificates. It provides secure data transmission, and its default port is 443. So some reasons why HTTPS is better is because of the encryption. It encrypts communication between the client and the server. It ensures confidentiality, integrity, and authentication, so the CIA triad. It protects sensitive data, so none of that gets shared. It prevents eavesdropping and tampering by attackers, and so that's why most modern websites are using HTTPS rather than HTTP. So on Windows, that would be IIS, the Internet Information Services, and in Linux, it'd be Apache or Tomcat. So Apache is a widely used open source web server, and it supports HTTPS, or you can use Tomcat. It's an open source Java servlet container, and it is commonly used for Java-based web applications. So the Internet Information Services, it's Microsoft's web server software, and it's used to host and manage websites, services securely. So configuring HTTPS on Windows, you would open PowerShell, and then you could run this command, install -Windows feature, that command, and then you would want to generate or import an SSL certificate. Use a certificate authority to obtain a trusted certificate, and then alternatively you can create a self-signed certificate for testing this. So then after that, you're going to bind the certificate to a site. You would open the ISS manager, navigate to your site, right-click and select the edit bindings, and then add an HTTPS binding, and then select this SSL certificate. And then after you do all this, of course, you want to verify, so you can run a netstat command to confirm it's on port 443 and it's active. And then, of course, after that, you want to use nmap just to make sure. And then, so configuring HTTPS, you can choose whether you want to do Apache or Tomcat. So this is for Apache. So first you would install an SSL module. We have the command that you would do that. And then after that, you would create an SSL certificate. Just like the Windows, you can do from a authority or do a self-signed. After that, you would configure in the SSL configuration file using the sudo nano command, this one right here. And then you want to add the following information as listed to make sure all the settings are right. And then after that, you're going to restart and type this command. And then you would verify using this command. So it also a netstat command to confirm it's on port 443 and active. So this is very similar to Windows, just some different steps. So finally, we have configuring on Tomcat. So to do this, you would edit the server.xml file in the Tomcat conf directory. So you would navigate to that directory and then change the settings to this, and then you would restart Tomcat using this command, and then you would ensure port 8443, the default for Tomcat, is open and usable. So all these are very similar, just different steps to achieve them. So we have some Windows hardening recommendations for HTTPS on IIS. So always you want to use strong SSL/TLS certificates. Again, you want to use the certificate authority. You want to avoid self-sign certificates for production environments, and then you got to regularly update these before they expire. So disable weak protocols and cipher suits. So you want to disable outdated protocols like SSL 2.0/3.0 and enforce TLS. So TLS is preferred over SSL. Then you want to use tools like IIS Crypto to simplify the configuration. For number 3, we have implement access controls. So restrict access to sensitive areas using IP address filtering, and enable user authentication for administrative sites or restricted content. Then for 4, we have enable logging and monitoring. Configure IIS to monitor requests and detect anomalies. You can use tools like Windows Event Viewer or third-party monitoring solutions. So you want to, for number 5, we have force HTTPS redirection. Redirect all HTTP traffic to HTTPS. And you can use a URL rewrite module or the redirect feature in IIS Manager. So then we have some recommendations for Tomcat and Apache. So for number 1, we have enforce HTTPS with redirection. So to do this, we would configure the web server to redirect all HTTP traffic to HTTPS. And for Apache, we would just add this to the virtual host configuration, doing this. Then you want to disable weak ciphers and protocols, just like Windows. So you want to use TLS like 1.0 and TLS 1.1. So we would have some commands that you would do that for Tomcat and Apache. You want to use strong SSL certificates. Again, just like Windows, trusted ones, avoid using self-signed certificates. And then for 4, we have enable HTTP strict transport security. So to do this in Apache, we would have the header always set to strict transport security. And then for 5, we want to limit information exposure. So disable server version banners in Apache. So server signature off, and then server tokens PROD. For Tomcat, edit server.html or XML to remove version details. And then for 6, regular updates and patching. And then we just have some commands for verification, for open ports using netstat, and then you can test HTTPS response headers also. So moving on to AppArmor. AppArmor is a Linux security module that enforces security policies. It works by using profiles to restrict the capabilities of the application. For benefits, it has an improved system security and minimizes surface attacks. So to check if it's installed, I would be on Linux command prompt, and I would run the command AA-status. If I didn't have it installed, I could install it by sudo apt update and then sudo apt install AppArmor-profiles, and then after that to check status, or once I have it installed, to check the number of loaded / enforced profiles, I would use sudo AppArmor_status. So then we have some hardening recommendations. Enable and enforce AppArmor profiles. Ensure AppArmor is installed and running. So sudo systemctl status AppArmor. And enforce the strict profiles for critical applications such as web servers and databases. Next, we will create custom profiles for key applications. Use the AppArmor profile generator to create tailored profiles. Using this command, we can adjust permissions based on application requirements, restricting access to sensitive files and directories. And then we would monitor and audit AppArmor logs. We can regularly review logs for policy violations or unexpected behavior with this command, and then enable logging in complaint mode during testing using this command. So another hardening recommendation is transition applications from complaint to enforce mode. After confirming a profile works correctly, switch it to the enforce mode when you're not testing it. You can do that using the sudo AA-enforce profile. And then finally, update and harden profiles regularly. You just can't leave them. Gotta periodically review profiles as applications and systems requirements evolve. We can use tools like audit to detect new access patterns. So finally, I have my works cited page, and that concludes my PowerPoint.